down, lift up. And I'm Allison Graham, super excited to be here again today. Loving this, loving all the comments and private messenger. Apparently, I have some very what is it? Listeners who love to chat. So I love it. And you don't put the comments on a thing. I don't mind. Send them privately to me if that's your comfort zone. And the conversations that have come out of this have been absolutely worth doing it and just really great. So loving that. And today's conversation is about the stress acceptance culture. And is it making the issue of burnout and stress and everything that we're talking about, a lot of focus in the news, even worse? And the short answer is yes, absolutely. I believe it is. And so I want to unpack that. And as you know, or if you haven't seen these before, the whole point of the lockdown lift up is just to give some ideas, maybe a little bit of inspiration, a couple laughs, and that's that's sort of the plan. And often the laughs are just me laughing at myself, because if we can't do that, what can we laugh at? And this is a little glimpse into the world of Ellie G each day. Okay, so I have comments up. So if you make a comment, I can absolutely see you. I am of my 3 screens. Where's my cursor? Got it. Yesterday, I didn't save it though. Greg sent a really cool comment about hustle culture. And so what do I mean by stress acceptance culture? Essentially, it's like, yeah, of course you're stressed. Everybody's stressed. Everything's stressed. That's just how we are, right? And somehow that has become normalized as just the way things are. And I think when the pandemic happened, people forgot how incredibly, what's the word I'm looking for? It's easy to forget now how stressed people were then, because we didn't really talk about it. I think we did, but again, it was just stress acceptance, right? Like that's just how we live our lives. So suck it up, buttercup, get on with the program. You can keep going. And somehow, if you weren't stressed, you were under living your potential, which is Friday's topic. But if you aren't stressed, then somehow you weren't like wearing this badge of honor. Like if you weren't busy, and you actually had your schedule under control and you're on top of the tasks that you need to do and you say no to the things that you don't want to do or don't align with who you are, then, there was something sort of wrong with you, as opposed to I'm looking at that and going, oh, you know what? That's what should be accepted, not this sensation of stress. And actually, I'm not going to say who it was, but he sent me a private message and I just thought it was brilliant because it is the sentiment of what I think is happening. Because I posed the question, and if you have an answer to this, please let me know. I said, does anybody really care about stress? Because is stress, like if you're a company looking to hire a speaker or a trainer to come in and do a program, like someone like me, are you really looking at stress as the thing that matters? And I think that that's shifting. But the truth is, I don't think people care, because we have such this a stress acceptance culture that it's like, yeah, of course you're stressed. That's just life. And that's not what life is supposed to be. And I don't think people understand and see that it relates to your innovation, your creativity, your productivity, your enjoyment of life, your happiness, your contentment, all of the pieces of the puzzle. And actually somebody did write a comment, which I thought was fantastic. Even when we look at safety, if you're on the cusp of burnout, if you are completely stressed and not managing that particularly well, and like, how do we define well? That's another topic. Then all of that is at risk. But this was, I thought, and I'm not going to tell you who it was, but here is the best thing. Okay, so during the day, okay. Oh no, that's when we were trying to figure out when to talk. Hold on. I totally think you can help. The issue is that people likely, okay, let me be the right one. Getting to a place where I need help. Okay, no. This is the thing. I should have had this pulled up before, but it just came to my mind and I can't find it. Anyway, basically what he was saying was something to the effect of, look, I just want to get to the end of the day. Hopefully my kids are alive and learn something. Like, I mean, he was being tongue in cheek. He had a more thoughtful way to put that. And I put out enough fires to keep my job going. And that's basically life. And to me, that is under living our lives. Greg, awesome to see you. And he said about laughing. Yeah, see, Greg always puts in a good comment. I love this. This is awesome. Laughing is so important these days, especially as we continue to be isolated. It can be harder to stay energized and share energy, and when we're not around each other or making eye contact. Absolutely. And it's interesting because if you know my origin story, I had 2 to 5 hours of functionality in a day. And I think the reason I'm able to handle isolation so incredibly well is because I had years of practice. And I also have gotten so good at, like, I know it sounds sort of silly, but like entertaining myself and like being funny for me. Like, if anybody ever like followed it around, they may not think it's funny, but just feeling okay with that, because it does take practice, and maybe not the best way to live one's life, but anyway, I digress. So this whole concept of stress acceptance culture being a problem is, I think, such a critical problem that we can only shift by actually interrupting the expectation that stress is our baseline. And that takes a huge movement, I think. I think as an individual, we can control our world. But if you're in a company that is like, badge of honor, if you're stressed or have leadership, and one of the things that was the conversation early on in this pandemic was there's like the executive, the high level executive who's making multiple 6 figures. They're outsourcing whatever they can. They've got help maybe in the home as a form of a nanny or something like that. And then there's this other group of executives or management leadership who isn't making that much money and doesn't have some of those pieces of the puzzle available. And then there's another level financially of professionals who aren't making enough money to get the help either, right? And so when I was talking with people who are at this exceptionally senior level, there was a bit of a conversation of, well, why are people so, like, can't they just put tools in place? And, the thing is, they didn't have the same access as other people maybe had in order to make those things functional. So, we have to have some compassion. It does start from the top down. It's, as we talked about yesterday, the answer is not giving people another day off. I think it's actually much, much, much deeper than that. It's the culture. It's the language that you use. It's the perception of, challenges. It's how you problem solve as a team. I mean, this is the bigger conversation, so that stressed isn't the default. Stress is the one-off, because the way stress is supposed to work is we go along, we're in our sweet spot of performance and productivity, we're harnessing our good stress, have a little bit of a deadline, have a bit of a like big goals that we're chasing, we're living in that sweet spot. And then something big happens, there's a crisis or a big issue that we have to pull together, and then we spike. And, all our stress hormones kick into gear, and we rally for that moment. And then, or for that period of time. And then as the danger goes away, we come back down and we go back to our baseline. And that recovery is not necessarily happening. Right. I've got some more comments here. Let's pull them up. I think another point is the fact that during stress and anxiety, the first thing to go is perspective. Oh my God, absolutely, without a doubt. I agree with that. I think perspective is the absolute key. in so many pieces of the puzzle, because we end up giving our emotional capacity to the things that don't truly matter. And I think I talked about that maybe the other day. And okay, I'm going to encourage people to be like Greg. Greg is good at these comments. I love it. That's awesome. And actually, I'm going to, one of these days, I'm going to bring Greg up on the call. I actually have a 3:30, so I have a hard deadline today. I'm meeting with Rob Rudy, who sometimes comes on these feeds as well. And he and I are working on something together. I'll find out what when we have our chat. But it can be an inability to go from A to B to C. That's where coping mechanisms or support can really enable someone to see the bigger picture. Yes, exactly. Greg, have you seen my presentations? I don't know if you have, because I talk about how to actually break that down so people do have the perspective. I think that's one of the key pieces that I bring when I do this. So anyway, hopefully just food for thought, having you thinking about, are you accepting stress as your baseline? And if you are, let's step back from that and look at it objectively and go, is that really how I want to live my life? And don't forget that coming up soon, there is going to be a new book that is available. Oh, wrong camera. Never mind. Let me pull it up here. Well, we'll go to this one. Look at just playing with the slides. Here it is. It's coming up on the screen. Take back your weekends. That's my M50 over there. It's going to come out. You can already get the paperback, not the paperback, the downloadable version. I'm going to encourage you to wait for the paperback because it's getting designed. It looks really cool. It's going to have a little bit more in it. Super short read coming out. But here's the other thing, the ask I have for you, because a lot of you have been saying this is great, is an afternoon lift up. The way I earn my living is speaking to audiences, conferences, coming into teams, working with them to create a resilient culture, amplify their capacity, and solve problems faster so it doesn't suck the capacity out of their day-to-day. And that is the work I do. So if you know small, medium size business, generally it's the medium-sized businesses that'll bring me in, or the big companies. So the banks, the insurance companies, etc., that will bring me in, and we'll talk about this in depth. So that is all for today. I've got 1 minute to get over to my next meeting, and I am super excited you were here. Thank you very much. Hope this sparked something for you. Leave a comment, and I will definitely, I'm watching the comments after the live, and can't wait till see you tomorrow on the Lockdown Lift Up. Bye for now.